Now we are moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly the Dallas Texans. So they also moved they just moved just the one time. Let's go with your offense.
Well, you got to go quarterback. We're going Mahomes. Now, what the younger fans won't know is how good Len Dawson was. I mean, he was, well, obviously until Mahomes was there, he was the unquestioned best quarterback in the franchise history. He was also a Super Bowl MVP. He was also a multiple All-Pro. He was an amazing player, but now you got Mahomes, 2 league MVPs, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 first-team All-Pros, and yeah,
the baby goat.
No.
Right now.
So Mahomes is the guy. On my offensive line, I've got they were pretty deep and there's no weaknesses here, I don't think, at all. I mean, at tackle, I've got Willie Roaf, and he only played there 4 years, but he was an All-Pro all 4 years that he played there. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro in 4 seasons. So he's a tackle, and Jim Tyrer is the other tackle, and you don't know, a lot of fans don't know this name because he was involved in and I'm not sure how much we want to get into this, but he was involved in an off-the-field incident that took him completely out of consideration for Hall of Fame and everything else. People can look that up if they like.
No, tell me about this. I did not know about this because he's on my team.
I'm not sure what I think CTA might have had something to do with it, but he was, he unalived his wife and then himself after he retired. And he has never really been considered for Hall of Fame, despite being a 6-time first-team All-Pro, until not this past cycle, but the one before that. He made it as a finalist as a seniors candidate and didn't get in. So, I mean, that seems kind of cruel to me. You're going to not consider him all this time. You're going to consider him, make him a finalist, and then not put him in. But that's what happened. He was one of the best linemen to ever play for the team, but because of this incident, obviously, not just incident seems to not put enough weight on it, but because of this incident, he's not really, you don't hear much about him. But so that's offensive tackles. Will Shields at guard, Hall of Famer. Ed Buddy at guard, amazing. And actually, I think his son played for the team as well. Also guard for the team as well. And then Creed Humphrey, I've already got him as the center, even though he's a 3-time All-Pro, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. So I've already have him as the center. So my tackles, Tyrer and Roaf, my guards, Shields and Buddy, and then Creed Humphrey as my center.
All right. Yeah. Some of these recent guys I did not even consider, but maybe I should have looked a little closer.
When you compare them to I look at it as kind of total accolades, and if they kind of match up, and I like dominance as well. So if you've already been a 3-time, in this case, a 3-time All-Pro in 4 or 5 seasons, then you're a dominant player. You're probably one of the best players to play on that franchise. So I try to give the younger guys. I know I often get accused of leaning the other way, so I try to give the younger guys their due when they've earned it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. 4 out of the 5, we're aligned. I went with Jack Rudnay as the center. You know, Super Bowl champ, 4-time All-Pro, played 144 consecutive games in an era, where, you're not exactly dealing with the cutting edge of sports medicine. But Creed Humphrey, I mean, I can't argue that with the accolades, right? Sure. But I like it. All right. Tell me your skill guys.
This was hard. I mean, the Chiefs have had so many good running backs. Yes. So
I think it goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah,
great offensive lineman.
There you go.
Where it's hard to parse through. So you're probably going to get great running backs.
I went with one running back, and it wasn't Priest Holmes, and it wasn't Larry Johnson, and it wasn't Christian Okoye. I went with Jamal Charles, their all-time leading rusher, as the running back. And the reason being is not because they don't deserve it, but you can't leave the tight ends off. There's 2 tight ends that have to be on this team. So with Kelsey and with Gonzalez, you got to go, in my opinion, you have to go 2 tight. Tyreek is a Hall of Famer. So he is one of the wide receivers. And then Otis Taylor was I think you mentioned, who was the wide receiver for Denver that you mentioned? It was he was the same type of guy.
Lionel Taylor.
Otis Taylor was the the deep threat for those 60s and 70s teams that were so good. He was so good that he tied for second in MVP voting in 1971. That's how good with so 1971, Alan Page won the MVP. He tied Roger Staubach for MVP for second place in MVP in 1971. That's how good Otis Taylor was. So I've got two wide receivers, Tyreek and Taylor, two tight ends, Kelsey and Gonzalez. So that left me only one slot for the running back, and I went with the all-time leader in rushing for the Chiefs, Jamal Charles.
Okay. So I went a little funky with my formation, but hear me out. So I went with two running backs. Jamal Charles, like you said, incredible player. I think he's 5.5 yards per carry, just so explosive. And it's almost like a tragedy that he didn't get to play with a great quarterback. Yes. So he wasn't able to fully, reach his potential and win a Super Bowl type thing. The other running back I went with was Priest Holmes, undrafted guy.
So good. Oh my goodness.
There's a case for him to be, for that 3-year run to be the most dominant player in NFL history. Yeah. Like he is we talked about OJ and the season that he had and the way that the offense leaned on him. Priest Holmes and that 3-year run.
If you want to, that 3-year peak that compares to Dickerson, 83, 84, 85. That compares to Earl Campbell, 78 through 80. Marshall Faulk, 99 through 2001. Priest is up there with all of those guys in terms of that. Terrell Davis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Jamal Lewis, that 3-year run, with 3-4 year run with Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jamal Lewis is the only reason that Priest Holmes ended up in KC because he got signed to Baltimore, but we already got Jamal Lewis. We don't need you. Just an incredible player. Larry Johnson, I want to throw him in there just to shout out. I know he's gone a little bit off the deep end since retirement, gone to some deep conspiracy stuff, but I wish him well. And then I went with 2 tight ends and one wide receiver.
That was the temptation.
So the reason I felt comfortable doing so is because give me Tony Gonzalez as my inline tight end, right? He's a more traditional, blocker, all that stuff. For a long time, he was a franchise leader in all the categories, but he could also, block his butt off. And then give me Travis Kelce playing out on the outside. That's where he operates most of the time anyway, right? Fair. Either from the slot.
That's fair.
Throw him in there, and then Tyreek Hill. I know there's been a lot of deep threats in the NFL. You mentioned Otis Taylor, Randy Moss, Deshaun Jackson, but Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes, I don't think there's ever been a scary combo
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like the fear.
It could be 3rd and 30 on the 1 yard line, on their own 1 yard line, and you're playing deep because you can't let this guy beat you. I think there was one play. It wasn't even a deep threat, but where it was against the Cowboys at the end of the first half, and they did that thing where they kind of threw a little dump off, and they formed like a dump off to Tyreek, and they formed like a human wall in front of him. And I don't think he scored the touchdown, but he came very close. And I was like, there's no one in NFL history that I have personally seen that would make this situation scary for the defense.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Where any other guy, it's fine. Some of these guys, Randy Moss, elite track speed, Deshaun Jackson, but I don't think I've seen anybody with the combination of world-class, elite, Olympic-level track speed and that rapid acceleration, the change of pace, all that stuff. Just one of the most unique guys we've ever seen.
And it's funny that because as you were describing him, the one word that kept going through our mind is fear. He was the wide receiver who could make, if you're rooting against that team, if your team's fear, put the fear of whatever in the defense. He was scary. So scary.
Yeah. And the thing is with some of these other guys, you're okay, maybe if you paired Randy Moss with Mahomes, same idea where Mahomes can run around for 10 seconds and then heave it 60 yards downfield. Maybe it would have been the similar idea, maybe even more so because of the jump ball element. And I thought, okay, maybe how much of Tyreek's success is based on Mahomes and doing all that? And then he goes to Miami and plays with someone.
And he was still an All-Pro. He was an All-Pro a couple more times.
Exactly. Yeah. Very, very average quarterback that he's playing with, and he still was doing the same thing. So I was like, okay, this guy, he's just incredibly unique.
He's that guy.
I said,
all right,
give me your defense. Oh, sorry.
We're on defense now. So my front four, I've got, Derek Thomas, technically is a linebacker, but I've got him playing edge in this defense. So,
Okay.
oh
4-3 here
no,
as
I've
well?
got another funky formation. So I'm going
Okay, please.
four up front, Chris Jones and Buck Buchanan. I'm not sure if any team has a better 1-2 punch on the inside than those two. I mean, Chris Jones is a future Hall of Famer. Buck Buchanan is a Hall of Famer. I've got Neil Smith on the other edge, with apologies to Tamba Ali. So my front four is Derek Thomas, and Neil Smith on the edges, Chris Jones and Buck Buchanan up the middle. And then at
Okay. All
linebacker,
right.
I'm going with only two guys because I needed five in the
Mm.
secondary again. So my linebackers are Willie Lanier, the first African American middle linebacker of all time. Came into the league at a time where uh, it wasn't believed that blacks could be the quarterback of the defense like that. Lanier
Mhm.
was the first. And then Bobby Bell. Bobby Bell is a Hall of Famer, 6-time first team All Pro. He was an outside linebacker at the time where they weren't edges, so he had to defend. So he was a kind of a, well, the Raiders have a similar player to this one that we'll be talking about as well. But he got sacks and he covered the pass as well. I believe he was also their long snapper. He was that good of an athlete that, he was a pass rusher. He was a defender in space. He was a long snapper. He was a tough guy. He was everything. So those are my two linebackers, Bobby Bell and Willie Lanier.
Was Willie Lanier's nicknamed the Honey Bear?
I
I read this somewhere. I was like,
You know what? I don't know that
I
it
couldn't
wasn't.
confirm
I
it.
don't know that it wasn't, but it doesn't, and it doesn't sound like the way he played either. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds like an
Yeah.
ironic
It
nickname or
doesn't stick
something,
with
you
me.
know? Okay. All right. So with I went with a
Okay.
3-4. So my two defensive ends, Tamba Hali and Jerry Mays. Tamba Hali, you mentioned him, more recent guy. Maybe doesn't get the accolades because he wasn't part of the great
Mhm.
AFL teams or the
Right.
recent era. And then Jerry Mays, another AFL guy, played there from 61 to 70, won a Super Bowl. And then Chris Jones, I think, was the slam dunk pick as my
Mm.
defensive tackle, even though he plays all over the place. You probably could have put him
Yeah.
at DN if you
Probably.
wanted to. You could
Probably.
have put him at nose. Just such a pain in my ass as a Raiders fan. I always hated seeing that guy. And then for my linebackers, Derek Thomas, may rest in peace. That was a slam dunk pick. And then Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell
Mm.
as well. And then I went with Derek
Okay. Yeah.
Johnson,
Yeah.
who I think maybe gets
Yeah. I looked at
overlooked.
him. Yeah.
Because of that same thing. He was in that
Mhm.
era where they were really bad, and then when they were okay, and then he missed out on the full Mahomes,
Right.
Andy Reid
Sure.
experience of the deep Super Bowl runs. But just like a tackling machine, classic middle linebacker that you
Mhm.
wanted in there.
Mhm.
Uh,
And then, yeah, my
Give me your
secondary. So
DBs.
I have at safety, I've got Eric Berry, who will get. He was so very good. Was never able to stay healthy, but when he did, 3-time first team All Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. They have another safety from the AFL days named Johnny Robinson, who was a 6-time first team All Pro. He's also a Hall of Famer, so he's a safety of mine. And then I've got a third safety, Duron Cherry, who has 50 interceptions.
Okay.
He's a 5-time All Pro, 3-time first team, 2-time second team. And then on the corner, I've got Emmett Thomas, who's a Hall of Famer from the AFL days. And then Albert Lewis, who was also a 2-time first team All Pro. So my corners,
Okay.
Emmett Thomas, Albert Lewis, Barry, Robinson, and Cherry playing safety.
Yeah. So I had 4
Mhm.
defensive backs, so agreed with all of you, all of your picks. Barry, Cherry, Thomas, and Lewis. So not a super strong defensive backfield, I would say, compared to some of
Yeah,
the
well,
other,
I mean, there
compared
are
to
2 Hall of
Denver.
Famers there, and Eric Berry is a Hall of Fame adjacent to me. So, so
Yeah.
it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
I wonder if he'll get in. And if they take into consideration the cancer diagnosis. It wasn't like an
Yeah.
injury. It wasn't like off the field
Well,
thing. Like
it's
at his
yeah, I mean,
peak,
that's the thing.
I wonder.
He would have to get the Sayers exemption, right? He'd have to get
Yeah.
because at his peak, he was every bit that guy. But did he play long
Mhm.
enough? Football's dangerous. That's part of what the thing is, right? You got to play long enough to, so I can see it either way. I can see it either way. He's right on the line for me. Hall of Fame adjacent.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the
Got to
head
be Andy Reid.
coach. Who did
Got
you
to be
pick?
Andy Reid. Got to be Andy Reid.
No consideration
No.
for Hank
I
Stram?
mean, just because, well, I mean, not that Hank Stram wasn't great because he was, and he was their first coach, I believe, and he was the one who led him through all of that.
Mhm.
But
He was
yeah,
from Dallas.
yeah.
He coached them
But
in Dallas. So.
Andy Reid, given what he's done in this era with this competition with 32 teams,
Mhm.
it's unbelievable. Got to be him. Got to be him.
Yeah. The only argument I would say is, Stram didn't have Mahomes,
He
but
had
he
Len
had Len
Dawson.
Dawson.
He had
So
Len Dawson.
he had
Yeah,
a Hall of
yeah,
Famer of his own. I think he had Len Dawson
yeah,
longer than, Reed has currently been with
yeah.
Mahomes. So,
I mean, he
in
has a
terms of like
case. I mean,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't have been as dismissive as that. I mean, he has a legit case. Look, Hank Stram, I believe, is a Hall of Fame coach as well. So
Oh, yeah, yeah,
he's
for
legit.
sure. Two-time champ, I believe, AFL
Yep,
champ and
yeah,
then the
Super
Super
Bowl
Bowl champ.
4 and then
So
twice AFL. Yep,
yep. So
yeah.
same
There
number
you
of rings
go. There you
right
go.
now so far.